Alright, it was only a matter of time, and here I am. This is the first official rant here at Nonie's, I still call it Nonie's, in the family room of, I guess, my house. And that gets me to kind of the topic of this rant and the title of this video. How 2025 is basically like the weirdest year I've ever had. I say weird in both kind of a good way and not a very good way. I don't even know where to begin. I guess I would begin at the end of last year, 2024, which feels like a different universe right now. But, 2024 ended as well as any other year ends with an amazing Christmas. And I had my first ever Christmas chaos party. And if it seems kind of weird that I'm talking about this like 8 or 9 months after the fact, it is weird. Honestly, I was going to come out and say it, like, this entire year, and again, we're like maybe 3/4 of the year, I don't want to say I've been sleepwalking through this year, but it has not felt the same. And obviously, Nottie's passing was a big part of that, but I mean, just so many things. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing videos a long time. I've been doing rants a long time. It's not that they become harder to do, it's just, after a while, there's not as much to talk about, but there's a ton to talk about right now. That's kind of the thing. There's almost too much to talk about. From the beginning of this year, just how everything kind of just hit at once. And unfortunately, Nani's passing was not a surprise. I mean, she was not doing well. Last Christmas, 2024, was her last Christmas. It was our last Christmas here. Which is why it's also weird that I'm in this room right now. Because this has kind of become like the new basement, so to speak. If you guys remember, I used to do rants in my basement, just kind of walking around like this. So I kind of wanted to simulate that here. In a room that I've been like a million times. I've been in this room all the time. I mean, this is the family room. This is where we had Christmas and Thanksgiving and all these great holidays and moments. I've always loved this room. And, I don't know, I'm jumping all over the place here. That's probably going to happen. 2025 started, with some tragedies. Not just Nani, but our cat Skittles also passed away in February. And again, even February feels like it was like a different universe. Still the same year, but it's like the end of summer right now. It's end of August. I'm filming this on August 25th, which, fittingly enough, is 4 months until Christmas of this year. And there's still a lot of work to do here with the house, but I thought it was time that I kind of break the silence. And the thing about a rant is, and then this isn't just this rant, this is any rant I've ever done, there really is no script. And in the same way, this year has not had a script. There's been some things that stay the same, but a lot of it has just been crazy. I said it was like a weird year. Like, I feel like, and again, I've been doing the stuff I always do. Anyone who watches my Twitch streams, I've still been streaming, I've still been working, I've still been going out. To most people, I appear the same, I'm sure. And that's a good thing. That's not bad. But I'm not the same. Like, I don't feel the same. I feel kind of, not bad, but just, it's been a while. And this is kind of the first step to me sort of stepping into a new era. I don't know, what that's going to bring, what it's going to look like. It might be very different. It might be the same. There's been a lot of times where I've done little changes here and there, but this has been a lot of change in a short time. And those of you who've watched my channel for well over 20 years, there's really not that much change. You look at every year of my videos, other than the fact that I get older, it's been almost the same thing. And that's also not a bad thing, but I'm saying, like, if you watch my videos back in 2005, 2006, and so on, I was always doing this. I was always walking around the room talking. And then I would go over Nani's at the end of the year. Well, now I'm at Nani's. And it's obviously bittersweet, but it's like I want to keep avoiding that topic. Again, obviously it's going to come up. That I am living here now, more or less. It's kind of still a transition phase, but that's kind of part of the change. Literally, like, a few months ago, I was in a completely different house. I've been moving all my streaming stuff here. I've been moving all my possessions here. I mean, this is nothing new to anybody who's moved before, but it's not like I'm moving miles away. Nani didn't live that far from where my parents did. But anyway, been a weird year. It really has been. If you told me at the beginning of this year that this is where I would be, and, getting back to Christmas, Christmas 2024, and just, probably most likely by the time I put this video out, the Christmas 2024 video may or may not even be out. So that's how far behind I am. It's not by choice. It just like, I was just like almost emotionally numb for like 3 or 4 months after Nonie passed. And it's really taken a long time for me to feel that energy again where I want to do videos, where I want to kind of sit and really think about it. And I was to say I didn't care about all this stuff, but it's like it just took a long time for me to even get to this point where I could talk about it. And I mean, I'm not even talking about it with anybody. This is just a video, you know. There's nobody in the room with me right now, which is honestly how I like it. It's like, in terms of ranting, that's how I like it. Like, yeah, I like hanging out with my friends, but like, I'm not gonna do a rant in front of my friends live. And I guess maybe I will, because my streams, I kind of do that, but yeah. 2025, the weirdest year there ever was. And that's also, I'm saying that as somebody who pretty much, let's face it, has had a pretty sheltered life. So, I mean, you know, people losing family members, unfortunately, happens a lot. It happens to all of us. It will happen to us, if it hasn't already. And, you know, this was a big loss. And also, you know, I don't want to say a big gain, but, you know, the house is kind of sentimental to me. Very sentimental to me. Christmas at Nonie's. Anything at Nonie's was always like a big deal. Halloween, all the times we spent in this room. This room even looks different. I mean, it kind of looks the same, and then we move some stuff around. So, anyway, I mean, I could just ramble on and on about that one topic, but yeah, it's a, maybe weird isn't the right word, but this is not your usual year. You know, this is not like, you know, the year starts and we have our, you know, couple months of break and then, you know, Easter and summer, and I do miss that. And I'm hoping next year we get back to that. That I get back to that, because I do feel like this year I've kind of just, every month is kind of blended together, and I don't like that. You guys know me. I love the whole, like, transition of seasons, and I don't feel like I personally had that. Like, obviously the seasons changed, the weather changed, all that stuff. We're going into fall. And I'm hoping, you know, with September coming, with September right around the corner, I'm hoping that, you know, that I start to see that, I don't want to say return to normal, but like just some kind of transition, because to this point, from like March to April to May to June to July, and now it's August, like I just haven't felt that. They've all felt the same. They haven't felt bad, the months, but, you know, I'm hoping, you know, there's still a little summer left, but I'm hoping for, you know, more outings, more things that I would usually do, you know, and maybe I don't film them all, but like, I don't know, that's what I mean about this year being weird. It just hasn't had what most years have. And I'm not saying I need a repeat of every single year, but I'm also not blaming anybody, because, you know, God knows I had my chances to go out this year. I just haven't felt like it. And, you know, this is one of the few videos, maybe the only video, where you're going to hear me say stuff like this, because I've made a whole, I don't want to say all my rants were like kind of fabricated, but like a lot of times I'll just focus on the positives, you know, like, oh, someone, you know, Red Sox won the World Series, you know, Halloween's coming up. It was always exciting stuff. It was always like, you know, making cookies, you know, all these little life activities that were fun to watch and fun to make, and they still are. But like, that's what my rants always were, and that's what they could still be. But I'm also, you know, I'm a person, you know, like I get sad, I get angry, I get lonely, like, I mean, like anybody. So, you know, this isn't really meant to be uplifting or downer, just kind of there, just kind of talking. That's what the rants always were. That's what they'll be. I don't know if they'll all be in this room. There is a lot to show. I guess that's the exciting part. I can start getting to the exciting stuff now, a little bit, anyway. You know, the Chaos Cave, as I call it, my new streaming room. I look forward to showing that off in more detail. My bedroom is, I don't want to say it's done, but it's looking pretty good. And then the big one, of course, is Christmas Central. And, you know, I did a rant on this separately in Christmas Central. And I don't know if I mentioned it then. I don't even remember my own rant. But, like, if I knew that last year was the last Christmas in that Christmas Central, like, would I have done it differently? Or, like, I'm kind of glad I didn't know. I know that sounds weird. I'm kind of glad I didn't know. Because, one, it would have been kind of sad. But it also would have, like, I would have almost tried to overdo it. Which I know. Me overdo Christmas, never. But, like, Christmas 2024, I think, went amazingly, to be honest with you. Because it was just a Christmas. It was just, you know, I wasn't looking at it as the last one there. I wasn't looking at it as anything other than just, like, you know, business as usual, which is great. But obviously this year is going to hold so much more significance, being the first Christmas Central to not be in that location, but still have the pieces, and we'll get to that down the road. I say that now, and it's like, the way this year's going, it'll be tomorrow. But now, there's a lot of positives, good amount of negatives, but, we're not, we got to where we got somehow. And 2025 still got a few months to go, so I'm going to make the most of them. I appreciate everybody watching. You know what? I was going to hit the remote to turn this camera off, but I'm going to do the old walk-off that I used to do. Hopefully this rant, if any of you from like 2004 or whatever are still watching this, whatever year I started doing this, if any of you are still watching it, hopefully this was a little nostalgic for you. It was kind of nostalgic for me to have this little rant, but I'm sure I'll be back. I'm just going to walk off all dramatic like.